I was lucky enough that I sort of identified that something was going on. I spoke to a lot of people about it, and that talking and that kind of dealing.
Oh, honey. Things are heating up in the royal palace, and we did not see this one coming. Prince William, ever the protective father, has just thrown down a royal hammer, and it's all over Queen Camilla's grandson. Yes, you heard that right. Apparently, the boy crossed a line, and William wasn't having it. The reason? Allegedly, bullying Prince George. Can you imagine? Now insiders are whispering. Is this about fatherly protection, or is there a deeper storm brewing behind those golden gates? Because let's just say tensions in the royal household have been bubbling for a while, and it looks like they're finally starting to spill. Let's rewind a bit. Camilla, Queen Consort Camilla, has not had the easiest time blending in with the younger royals. Word on the cobbled royal streets is that she never quite warmed up to Kate Middleton and even saw her as an outsider. Can you believe that? And if that wasn't enough, Prince William ruffled a few royal feathers recently by suggesting that royal duties needed a serious update. His plan? Hand more responsibilities to the younger royals like Kate and the lovely Duchess Sophie, the Kate associate. Oh, and here's the kicker. Sophie was supposed to replace Camilla as the patron of the NPCC. And Kate? She was up for even bigger roles at official events. Needless to say, Camilla was not amused. That shift in power, it hit her hard. Suddenly, her influence was slipping, and it didn't help that these changes were part of William's vision to modernize the monarchy. Honestly, some thought it was brilliant, finally pushing the monarchy into a more modern era. But Camilla, she saw it as a threat. And just when you think things couldn't get any messier, enter Balmoral Summit. Camilla, who's worked years to be seen as a legitimate queen consort, felt completely sidelined. The moment William laid out his proposals, her anxiety spiked. She might be sitting beside King Charles, but deep down, she felt like an outsider all over again. And don't even get us started on her reaction to Princess Kate. According to insiders, Camilla let loose some harsh criticism about Kate, leaving the usually poised Duchess utterly shocked. Princess Anne, too, was taken aback. She's all about tradition, but even she couldn't hide her surprise at Camilla's outburst. Darling, the monarchy is clearly at a crossroads. On one side, you have William, future king, reformer, visionary. On the other, Camilla, struggling to hold on to a legacy she's worked so hard to build. And the tension? It's no longer behind closed doors. Many see William and Kate as the dream duo to lead the royal family into the future. But Camilla's resistance is starting to paint a very different picture. As the palace whispers grow louder, it's clear. The crown may be shining, but the cracks are beginning to show. So what happens next when personal ambition, hurt pride, and family loyalty collide? Well, we're only just getting started. You see, while William's moves were making headlines, Camilla wasn't exactly sitting around sipping Earl Grey and staying out of things. Oh no, darling, behind the palace curtains, Camilla had been busy crafting a legacy for her own family, quietly, strategically, and some might say masterfully. Let's be real. Camilla's children, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopes, weren't exactly raised in the royal spotlight. They grew up far from the gilded halls of Buckingham Palace. But that didn't stop Camilla from slowly, steadily bringing them closer into the royal circle. More recently, whispers in the palace hinted that Camilla was pushing her family into royal events, photos, even school choices. Suddenly, her grandkids were showing up in places they hadn't before. Coincidence? Please.
Without support, the effects of these challenges can be traumatic, leading to serious issues such as anxiety, depression, addiction.
But the plot thickens, my dear. The real shock came when Camilla's granddaughter, yes, the little one, started showing up around Prince George, not just at public events, no, private gatherings, birthday parties, even Sunday strolls through the palace gardens. You picking up what we're putting down? Some royal watchers suspect Camilla was playing a very long game. Was she grooming a royal romance, hoping her granddaughter might one day catch Prince George's eye and secure her family's bloodline in the monarchy forever? It sounds wild, but if you know anything about royal strategy, this wouldn't be the first arranged-sounding pairing in history. And it happened. The moment everything fell apart. What was supposed to be a peaceful Sunday afternoon at Windsor Gardens turned into a royal nightmare. The kids were running about, the corgis were yapping, it was all sunshine and smiles until one of Camilla's grandsons, that one took a joke way too far. At first it was just teasing, but then it turned cruel. He made fun of Prince George's future role, took jabs at his royal status, and even, brace yourself, made an offhand comment about his late grandmother, Princess Diana. Are you kidding?
William and I have seen that many young people are struggling to cope with the impact of bullying, bereavement, domestic violence, family breakdown, and
George didn't cry, not in front of them, but the moment he got home, Catherine knew. He was red-eyed, withdrawn, the light in his eyes dim. And when she gently asked him what happened, George told her everything. Every word, every jab, every cruel, calculated dig. Catherine was furious, but she didn't shout. Oh no, she went still. And that's when you know the storm is coming.
I had my own children. I think the relation between the job and the personal life was what really took me over the edge. And I started feeling.
She told William, and when he heard what his son had endured, how someone within their circle, under their roof, humiliated his child, William didn't yell either. He acted. Just like that, Camilla's grandson, who had been nudged into royal spaces, positioned for future roles, even considered for honorary titles, was out. Gone. Stripped of privileges. No more invites, no more appearances. No more connection. And listen, this wasn't just a slap on the wrist. This was a royal shutdown. Word of William's move spread like wildfire through the palace. Suddenly, Camilla's grandson, once seen at posh events and family holidays, was nowhere to be found. His name quietly erased from ceremonial guest lists. No birthdays, no Christmas with the royals, not even a spot at the Troop in the Color rehearsals. Just like that. Gone. And the palace, oh, they felt it. Half the courtiers were whispering in the halls, wondering, is this William's personal revenge or the first sign of a monarchy shifting under new rules? Behind closed doors, King Charles sat in stunned silence. The man who once brought his blended family together now found himself in the middle of a cold war. His son had made a decision, a firm, unwavering one, and Charles, he didn't challenge it.
I want to be confronted by my future grandchild, saying, why didn't you do something? So clearly, now that we'll have a grand...
You see, William wasn't just protecting George, he was sending a message. When someone in the room tried suggesting maybe an apology could fix things, William didn't even hesitate. He simply said, my son doesn't need an apology, he needs protection. Oof, that one echoed all the way to Clarence's house. And Camilla? Oh, honey, she was livid. The moment she heard the news, she didn't just get upset. She exploded. In full queen consort mode, she stormed into Charles's study, letter in hand, voice raised, shaking with fury. She was humiliated. Her years of careful planning, building trust, smoothing over royal edges, all shattered in one swift act by William. But Charles didn't raise his voice. He looked tired, weathered, torn between the woman he fought the world to marry and the son who will inherit his throne. He simply said, I can't go against someone protecting their family. They deserve respect. And just like that, Camilla went pale. She left the room without another word, slammed the door behind her, skipped a public event later that day, blaming a headache. No one believed it. And that night, she didn't mention William's name once at dinner. Not once. She sat in icy silence and the entire room could feel the frost. But what made it worse? The realization that this wasn't just about her grandson anymore. William was no longer her sweet stepson. He was now a rival. And worse? He had the power. He wasn't just protecting George, he was redrawing the lines of royal privilege, and it stung. Because the truth is, Camilla didn't just want her family to be included, she wanted them to be remembered. She had spent years building up their place in history, trying to shift the narrative from scandal to legacy, and in one swift, silent move, William had burned that future to the ground. Once the palace whisper turned into a roaring echo, it didn't stay private for long. You know, the press always circling, always listening. And when word got out that Camilla's grandson had bullied Prince George, the headlines wrote themselves. Prince George bullied at royal gathering by Queen Consort's grandson. Prince William strips honor after family feud. Royal blood versus marriage ties. Who belongs? Boom. The public exploded. Social media lit up. Team George started trending. People weren't just talking. They were choosing sides. And guess what? The vast majority stood firmly behind William, Kate, and their children. Comments poured in like royalty at afternoon service. William did what any father would do. Protecting your child isn't up for negotiation. Diana would have done the same. It hit hard. The emotional echo of Princess Diana was everywhere. People saw George hurt, young, royal, and couldn't help but think of Diana's struggles. And then they saw William, calm, strong, drawing a line in the sand, not just for tradition, but for his son. And while the nation rallied around George, Camilla's image sank. Not dramatically, not overnight, but slowly, like a ship taking on water. People started to ask, had she pushed too far? Had she quietly tried to maneuver her family into royal status they hadn't earned? And worst of all, did she dismiss George's pain? Because that's what stuck. Not the gossip, not the speculation, but the moment a boy was hurt and a grandmother waved it off as just kids being kids, that tone-deaf shrug, that's what did the real damage. But back inside palace walls, the storm hadn't passed. Prince George's quiet power. The young prince may be small, but in this moment, he had the world's attention, and not because he asked for it, but because of the way he carried himself through it. He never spoke publicly. He never retaliated. He simply showed up. 1 week later, George walked into church with William, Kate, and Charlotte. Paparazzi were respectful. Onlookers clapped softly. And little George, dressed sharply in navy, holding his mother's hand tightly, eyes forward, posture strong. He didn't speak, but he didn't have to. Even the staff noticed his silent strength reminded them of someone, Princess Diana. The way she used grace as her shield. That quiet poise, that unshakable presence. And William? You could see it on his face. This wasn't just his son. This was the future. And he was going to do everything in his power to protect it. Behind the scenes, change was brewing. And this time, it wasn't just about personal drama. It was structural, strategic, official.
Relation between the job and the personal life was what really took me over the edge. And I started feeling things that I've never felt before. And
the palace released a new modernization plan, and let's just say it sent shockwaves through the royal family. William, as heir to the throne, laid out a vision that was sleek, efficient, future-focused. He spoke about tightening the royal circle, cutting costs, updating operations, and oh, did you notice? Camilla's name? Nowhere to be found. Not once. The spotlight instead? It was on William, Kate, and their children, the next generation, the real future of the monarchy. This wasn't a coincidence. This was a message. One Camilla heard loud and clear, because while she had fought tooth and nail to go from the other woman to queen consort, it was over now. The curtain was falling. Her influence, her legacy, it was slipping. Quietly, politely, but definitively. The restructuring meant fewer royals on the official roster. That meant less room for consorts' families, less room for Camilla's family. Her grandchildren, once poised for proximity to power, were now outsiders again. And the palace didn't say it with fanfare. They said it with silence. Inside Clarence House, Camilla was stunned. Her allies were being nudged out. Even her sister, Annabel Elliot, longtime advisor in the Duchy of Cornwall, was let go without so much as a royal thank you. That's over 20 years of loyalty, gone with a financial report. All signs pointed to one person, William. He wasn't playing the old royal game anymore. He was rewriting it. A mother, a father, a future king. It belonged to the boy who cried silently in the backseat of a royal car. It belonged to the mother who said enough. It belonged to the father who stood between tradition and his son, and chose his son. And finally, the new era, as the royal family stepped into this new chapter, one truth rang clear. Titles mean nothing without love, and crowns weigh less than conscience. This wasn't about revenge. This wasn't about ego. This was about George. And through that little boy's tears, the monarchy just took its first honest human step into the future. What a wild journey, huh?